See, that's my motives, my life direction, so on and so forth. And it's obvious to see. So there'd be transparency, and I'd set up a moral committee. That cannot be done after I'm gone. And if they pretend to do and pretend to be me and so on and so forth, there will be extreme punishment for them and their offspring in the afterlife. Only a dumbass mocks God. Only a dumbass pretends to be right with God. The churches are not full of smart people, I assure you. Okay, where are we here? Okay, it will break in pieces like pottery, shattered so mercilessly that among its pieces not a fragment will be found for taking coals from a hearth or scooping water out of a cistern. This is what the sovereign Lord, the Holy One of Israel, says. In repentance and rest is your salvation, in quietness and trust is your strength, but you would have none of it. You said, no, we will flee on horses, therefore you will flee. You said, we will ride off on swift horses, therefore your pursuers will be swift. And of course you see the horsemen of the apocalypse. 1,000 will flee at the threat of one. At the threat of 5 you will all flee away, till you are left like a flagstaff on a mountaintop, like a banner on a hill. Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you, therefore he will rise up to show you compassion, for the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are those who wait for him. Just like in Psalm 50, it makes it clear that the Lord is a God of justice. He's exalted by his justice. He's known by his justice. There's no knowing God if there's no possible justice. Like there will be no possible justice after I'm gone, right? It's logic-based justice. He's saying this is what you logically did wrong. Okay. People of Zion who live in Jerusalem, you will weep no more. How gracious he will be when you cry for help. As soon as he hears, he will answer you. Although the Lord gives you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, your teachers will be hidden no more. With your eyes you will see them. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. Then you will desecrate your idols overlaid with silver, and your images covered with gold. You will also throw them away like a menstrual cloth and say to them, away with you. Okay, so it's like something nasty that went into their vagina. Okay, so that's what it's being compared to. Okay, so these people, their marriages are detestable, their offspring are an abomination that need to be redeemed, and so on and so forth. That's part of the message here. Okay, he's being straightforward with them. This is part of why Isaiah in popular culture is said to be sawed in half, because people are little bitches who don't want to admit that they're wrong, they don't want to admit their families are wrong, and so they sawed them in half. To some degree, that has to do with why they're persecuting me, because they never grew up, they were never raised to be men and women and so on and so forth. They're just little brats, like the Greco-Roman deities that never grew up. Okay. He will also send you, and again, your teachers will be made known to you, right? So after I'm gone, the righteous will have left with me, and the wicked will be following idiots on earth. So even for the wicked, their teachers are made known to them. That's what I meant earlier in this series. I believe it was this series where I pointed that out. All right, he will also send you rain for the seed you sow on the ground, and the food that comes from the land will be rich and plentiful. In that day your cattle will graze in broad meadows. The oxen and the donkeys that work the soil will eat fodder and mash, spread out with a fork and shovel. In the day of great slaughter, when the towers fall, streams of water will flow on every high mountain and every lofty hill. So again, the water comparison. The moon will shine like the sun, and the sunlight will be 7 times brighter, like the light of 7 full days, when the Lord binds up the bruises of his people and heals the wound he inflicted. He's not saying worship the moon. Remember, the moon reflects the sunlight. He says the sunlight in the time of darkness, as you're transitioning into the spiritual realm, will shine 7 times brighter. After you die in the Spirit of God, it will shine brighter, and you'll be brought to God. Okay, it's probably the simplest way to interpret that, and the most straightforward. 27. See, the name of the Lord comes from afar, with burning anger and dense clouds of smoke. His lips are full of wrath, and his tongue is a consuming fire. His breath is like a rushing torrent rising up to the neck. He shakes the nations in the sea of destruction. He places in the jaws of the people a bit that leads them astray. And you will sing as on the night you celebrate a holy festival. Your hearts will rejoice as when people playing pipes go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the rock of Israel. The Lord will cause people to hear his majestic voice and will make them see his arm coming down with raging anger and consuming fire, with cloudburst, thunderstorm, and hail. The voice of the Lord will shatter Assyria. With his rod he will strike them down. Every stroke the Lord lays on them with his punishing club will be to the music of timbrels and harps, as he fights them in battle with the blows of his arm. Topheth has been long prepared, has been made ready for the king. Its fire pit has been made deep and wide, with an abundance of firewood. The breath of the Lord, like a stream of burning sulfur, sets the blaze. So I just explained this in another video that I'm going to add to this series. So basically, make a long story short, They're comparing his mighty arm. There's cloudburst, 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 thunderstorm, consuming fire. These things that they're comparing, the Lord is a consuming fire, right? Not literally a fire, being compared to a consuming fire. It consumes the wicked and burns them and causes them to suffer forever. You know, there's the cloudburst, there's the thunderstorm, there's the hail, right? Because righteousness and justice is the measuring line and plume line, and God is striking the wicked. Okay, it says his voice, not literally his voice, his speech, his communication will shatter Assyria. He'll shatter all the nations, because all the nations surrounded me in the name of the Lord. I cut them down. Whenever you get confused about, you know, why is he saying Assyria right now, and Babylon right now, and Edom, and so on and so forth, okay, go back to Psalm 118. It says, all the nations surrounded me, but in the name of the Lord I cut them down. Go to Isaiah 24, where it says the earth sinks never to rise again, right? It's the whole world. That's why the earth is going to be destroyed spiritually after I'm gone. It's finished being destroyed. It's being destroyed right now. You see people acting very pathetic, very conformist. They're broken, or they're in the spirit of the corporate state, or what have you. They're not in a martial art warrior spirit of God. Okay, and for those of you who doubt that it's martial arts, why does this idea exist? And it goes back before Asians labeled karate or taekwondo or kung fu. Before these things existed as such, there was African martial arts. So why did these martial arts exist and always were superior to Western war arts, okay, which evolved using technology? Why were they always spiritually superior at hand-to-hand combat, right, man to man, okay? Because God is the Almighty, right? The martial arts are the superior, right? You outmaneuver the brute. Conan the Barbarian swings a sword, okay? You fucking outmaneuver it. You double block and stab him real quick or whatever, okay? His art is inferior. It's brute force. It's knucklehead. You see him? It's mere rage-based human rules, customs, traditions, and training systems. Okay, and then they added technology, drone strikes and things that a kid could do, right? A kid is not almighty, so we can rule out all modern warfare immediately. It also evolved, right? It's not a continuity, right? A musket and a cannon and a tank and it's not a spiritual continuity. A tank and a drone and an airplane isn't the same spirit. So you have the spiritual continuity from the beginning, that Royal African Falcon martial arts system that God set apart as superior. Thank you.